With the 11th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Washington football... Wait, what? They're the Commanders now? Oh, come on! What's up, sports fans? Welcome back to Takes from the Couch, and if it's your first time joining us from the couch, welcome to the squad. But today we got a big project out for you guys. Not as big as the one I put out last week, but still definitely a sizable amount of video, so buckle in if you haven't already, because we're going to be here for a bit. Today I'm going over my 2022 first round mock draft. I know, 'tis the season. Everywhere you look, it seems like a new person's putting out a new mock draft. And I'm joining the club today. So yeah, I'm going to be going through the first round for the very first time this offseason. I'm going to be going through all my picks, what I think the thought processes will be for each team as they make those picks. But yeah, stay tuned. Should be a fun one. All right, and then in pole position of this draft for the second year in a row, you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last year, 2021, obviously they took Trevor Lawrence first overall, but they didn't really do much to help him out in terms of talent or coaching on this team. They are in desperate need of a lot of talent across the board. Receiver and running back you're probably doing all right at, but pretty much every other position definitely needs some improvement in 2022. And if I'm Jacksonville in this spot, I'm not overthinking it. You got a top 10 pick. You got to go best player available. And for me, that is still one Kayvon Thibodeaux, the edge rusher out of Oregon. I think Jacksonville takes him here. Obviously, 2021 wasn't a great season for Thibodeaux. He had a few iffy games where he just seemed like he was showing some lackluster effort here and there. But at the end of the day, he's got freakish athleticism. He's got some good technique in terms of pass rushing abilities. And I think he can come into your organization and help out from day one. Again, don't overthink it. Jacksonville, best player available, Kayvon Thibodeaux. Then at number 2 overall, you got Dan Campbell's knee-biting Detroit Lions. This is a team down the stretch of the 2021 season that made some noise. I mean, they were pretty decent down the stretch. They started the year 0-11, and then they hosted Minnesota and got a win against their division rivals. After that, they were pretty much playing 500 football. This is still a team that definitely needs some help across the board, though. Jared Goff's not the answer at QB, so you might be looking at a QB down the line here in some point in the draft. Offensive line, you're looking decent. Maybe you look at Evan Neal, but I don't think you need a ton of help at the tackle spots. It's still a little early to be taking a cornerback. Maybe you look at Kyle Hamilton here, but at the end of the day, I think the obvious pick is there, right in front of him. It's the hometown kid, Aiden Hutchinson, the terrific pass rusher out of Michigan. He had an absolutely incredible career for the Wolverines. And 2021 was a great tip of the cap for him. That Big Ten East title game against Ohio State was incredible. The Big Ten title game against Iowa was also spectacular. Put together 4 sacks over the course of those 2 games, and for a lot of people, that shoved him right up to the top of their draft boards. For me, I'm keeping him at number 2, mainly because in that college football playoff game against Georgia, he seemed to struggle a little bit. And I know Georgia was one of the more talented teams in college this year. Obviously, they won the national title, so they're pretty talented. But that's the type of talent you're going to be facing on a week-to-week basis in the NFL. And if you can't compete on a regular basis with that sort of talent, then you're not going to be lasting too long in the NFL. Obviously, it's still just one game, though, so you don't want to freak out too much. I mean, I'm still putting him at number 2. It's not like I'm dropping him down to like 20 or something because of that one game, because he's still got 30-some games besides that were incredible. So Aiden Hutchinson, number 2 to the Detroit Lions. They get a pass rusher, and their trenches just continue to improve. So for some more knee biting in 2022. Then at number 3, I don't know how they're at number 3 instead of number 1. It's the Houston Texans. This is a team that pretty much needs help, again, every single position. You don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Obviously, it looks more and more every single day that he's not going to be on this team anymore. So you might be looking at quarterback at some point in this draft too, like Detroit. I think it's a little too high for a quarterback now. But again, in the words of Michael Scott, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I think you go best player available, and that for me, you could go Evan Neal. You could talk yourself into getting a nice left tackle, but I think you go with who I think is the best player in this entire draft, and that is Kyle Hamilton at safety out of Notre Dame. He's a freakish athlete, man. And his ball instincts, as well as just his ability to read the quarterback, is just top tier stuff, man. You look at his former teammate, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He had a great year for Cleveland. And I think Kyle Hamilton will come into the NFL and do the exact same stuff. But yeah, just as much as Houston needs help on the offensive side of the ball, their defense needs some help as well. Kyle Hamilton is a great anchor at the safety spot. He can come down and run stop for you as well. So yeah, Houston's taking Kyle Hamilton. Then at number 4, the New York Jets have a gift waiting for them in the green room. Offensive tackle Evan Neal. Obviously, you need some help for Zach Wilson. You don't know what's going on with Mekhi Becton. He only played 1 game in 2021 with injury. And New York, it doesn't seem like they're super convinced that he's motivated to play at a top-tier level for them. So might as well look at another offensive tackle in the draft, and you can't do much better than Evan Neal. He's an absolute beast at the left tackle position. His ability to move laterally and pass block is just absolutely insane for somebody his size. He's 6'7", 360 pounds. There's not a lot of guys in the NFL even that are going to be moving him. So yeah, New York pretty much walks into their left tackle of the future with this pick. Then at number 5, another team that probably is feeling really good about this 5th overall pick, the New York Giants. This is a team that could go in a couple different directions here. You got a couple tackles here on the board that you probably go top 5. Kim Ekwonu, got Charles Cross there as well. You could go corner, Ahmad Gardner, Derek Stingley. But I think this team needs to be able to protect Daniel Jones in 2022 a lot better than they have so far in his career. And I think they're going to go with Ikem Ekwonu. Obviously, he's a little bit smaller at the left tackle position, but so was Rashawn Slater last year, and that worked out pretty well for the Los Angeles Chargers. He's probably the most athletically gifted left tackle in this entire draft class. He only allowed 2 sacks and 829 pass blocking snaps over the course of his career. So yeah, this is pretty much a home run pick for the New York Giants if they can land him at number 5, and that's what I think they do here. Then at number 6, you got another super interesting team in the Carolina Panthers, another team that could go in a bunch of different directions. I think even going quarterback here is not completely off the table yet, but it seems like they're committed to Sam Darnold for at least another season. And if that's the case, I don't see how much more improvement you're going to see on the offensive side of the ball. So I think you double down on defense. Obviously, last year they went J.C. Horn in the first round, and then he got injured towards the middle of the 2021 season. But I think they dip into the cornerback pool again this year. They take my first cornerback off the draft board, and I go with Ahmad Gardner. I had Derek Stingley at the top of my draft board for the cornerback position for a really long time, but the more I watched Ahmad Gardner play, it just seemed clearer and clearer to me that he is the top cornerback in this NFL draft class. The dude, his ability to read the quarterback is absolutely insane. His ball instincts are just ridiculous. It's honestly wide receiver level. Like, you saw what Trayvon Diggs was doing in Dallas, but you give him that along with some really good coverage ability, and you're going to have a star cornerback in the next level. This dude, there's no wasted motions in his coverage. He moves fluidly. His hips are always lined up perfectly. This dude he knows how to play the cornerback position outside. He can play a little bit of nickel as well, even some safety if you need him to. So he's really versatile in that way. And I think this is a steal for Carolina to get him in number 6. Number 7 brings up the New York Giants for the second time in the top 7. They went trenches last time with Ikem Ekwonu at left tackle, and I think they stick with that trend, except they move to the other side. They're going to bring in a pass rusher this time, George Karlaftis. He's not the most athletically gifted player in this NFL draft, but I do think that he is the best power rusher in this class. The dude is built like a rock, and he's just extremely strong. He can do pretty much everything you ask him to in terms of power moves for pass rushing. He's a good run stuffer too. And yeah, again, New York needs some help in the trenches, and Karlaftis will do just that. Number 8 brings up another NFC South team that could go in a bunch of different directions here, the Atlanta Falcons. Again, quarterback might not be off the board, even with Matt Ryan still on the roster as of now. Wide receiver maybe as well. But I think this is a team that if they're going to do anything to compete in 2022, they need to get better on the defensive side of the ball, particularly in the secondary. There's a dude that's been waiting on this board for a really long time, and it's about time for him to come off. I'm talking about Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU, the cornerback. Like I said earlier, he was my top cornerback for a really long time, but injuries have kind of derailed him after a spectacular freshman year in 2019 for the Tigers, that championship year where he was really the anchor of that defense. Ever since then, similar to Thibodeau, he's had some effort issues and just injuries as well, so that's really scary moving into the NFL career, but the talent is most certainly there if he gets motivated and can stay on the field. I still think he can be the anchor of an NFL secondary, and Atlanta gets a really good quarterback here with Stingley. Then at number 9, you got another team that could definitely go quarterback here, but I think the Denver Broncos at number 9 overall, they're going to dip into the defense again. This is a team whose defense really anchored that team in 2021 and the reason they won some games last year, but no more Von Miller at the edge. I think that's where they go this season. I'm going to have them dipping back into the Michigan Wolverine program and picking up pass rusher David Ojabo. This is a dude that has slowly, progressively moved up the draft board ever so slightly since the start of the 2021 season. He's super raw in terms of technique, but all the gifts are there. He recorded 11 sacks during the 2021 season. Obviously, you could say some of that was because of the attention that was given to Aiden Hutchinson on the other side, but this dude, despite only playing 2 years in college, he definitely has all the athletic gifts, and he's starting to get some of the technique down too, so if he can shore that up, he could be a dangerous pass rusher for years to come. Next up at number 10 is a team that's already picked in this top 10, the New York Jets. I had them taking Evan Neal to shore up their offensive line. This time I think they focus more on the defense. Might be a little early, some would say, to take a middle linebacker, but I think Nakobe Dean is the real deal at that position. Athletically, he's as gifted as they come. His ability to read the quarterback is insane in terms of pass coverage, and he can be a run stuffer too if you need him to. He's all motor as well. The motor is ridiculous. He'll run across the field and make a tackle for you. He did it a couple times at Georgia. He was the anchor of that passing defense, and I think the New York Jets definitely need something like that in 2022, and they're going to get it in Nakobe Dean. Then at number 11, the Washington Commanders. Feels weird saying that still. I got the first quarterback coming off the board here in Washington. Obviously, Taylor Heinicke is not going to be the long-term solution for that position if Washington wants to compete in the NFC East. I think they go Matt Corral here. I think he's my QB1 going into this draft right now. Corral, he's just improved throughout the years over at Ole Miss. His accuracy has progressively gotten better and better each season. He's also a super mobile QB. He rushed for 11 touchdowns, over 600 yards in 2021, on top of throwing for over 3,000 yards. So this dude is definitely a dual threat, and his accuracy is pinpoint as of now. He doesn't have the greatest arm, but it's decent enough to get the job done, and they've got a talented receiving core over in Washington. I think he'll fit right in there, and he'll take that starting QB spot in 2022. Then at number 12, he got the Minnesota Vikings, and for a lot of fans, this is probably worst case scenario right now. Ahmad Gardner's off the board, Derek Stingley's off the board, Matt Corral's off the board. Where do you go from here? Well, for me, I think the best solution here is you got to find that solution for the interior offensive line. Obviously, Ezra Cleveland has been great at the left guard position. You got studs at the tackle spots in Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. But as of now, you need to fix the center and the right guard position. I'm going to go and fix that center position for him right now, replacing Garrett Bradbury with Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa. Dude is a beast. 6'2", 290. He doesn't have the biggest frame on him, but he's got every bit of dog in him that you want on the interior of your offensive line, especially for run blocking. He's going to fight till the whistle every single snap. His motor is ridiculous. He's got the pass blocking chops too that Garrett Bradbury really struggled with throughout his career in Minnesota. I think this is the key to making Minnesota a more successful team in 2022 than they have been the past 2 years, fixing that offensive line, giving Kirk Cousins some more time to throw, giving some more running lanes to Dalvin Cook when he needs them. So yeah, Minnesota goes Tyler Linderbaum. Then at 13, you got the Cleveland Browns, another team that's probably a little upset to see Matt Corral off the board at number 11. They probably would have been looking at QB had he been still on the board, but right now, I think you need all the help at receiver position you can get. OBJ is no longer there. Jarvis Landry, who knows about his future at that organization. So for me, I'm going to be sending an Uber down to Ohio State University, and I'm going to be picking up Garrett Wilson and driving him down to Cleveland. This dude, he's been wide receiver 1 for a lot of this class. He's a big frame receiver. He doesn't have the greatest speed in the world, but he's a technician when it comes to route running. This might seem like a bit of an exaggeration, but he could be out of the Michael Thomas school in terms of his abilities as a receiver. He's not always going to be the fastest dude on the field, but he's going to catch the ball efficiently, and he's not going to miss his routes either. So I got Cleveland getting some receiver help with Wilson. Then at number 14, you got one of the more disappointing teams of the 2021 season, the Baltimore Ravens. Honestly, if this team needs one thing more than anything else, it's the offensive line. Alejandro Villanueva was a bit of a chore to watch during the 2021 season. Definitely don't want to be relying on him for your long-term future. And I think a good way to fix that problem right now at left tackle is with Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. Again, just a big dude with an athletic body that can just pass block the heck out of the game. Again, he can pass block like no other. He's got the athletic ability to move laterally to keep up with those pass rushers. And he can also do some run blocking for you too. That's going to be key for Baltimore and their offensive scheme. They need some help on the offensive line, and they got it here at 14. Then at 15, you got a unique situation where a team's going to be picking back-to-back times in the first round, the Philadelphia Eagles. Honestly, this is a squad that pretty much overperformed in 2021 given the circumstances. I didn't really know what to expect out of this team, and they made the playoffs, and they just lost to Tom Brady. As simple as that. This might be looking at QB, but Philly seems like they're committed to Jalen Hurts. I don't know if I agree with that, but if that's going to be how they're going to approach this draft, then you need somebody opposite of Devonta Smith at the receiver position that can be a big body instead of the slim, elusive frame that Smith is. And I think they go Drake London here. He's another just huge dude out of USC. He can, and he's got the long arms too. Honestly, arm length is going to be huge in this one because that's just the difference between coming down with the ball and dropping it at the end of the day. So I think they're going to get some receiver help for Jalen Hurts with 15 here and go for Drake London. Then at 16, I think you go to the opposite side of the ball. Again, there's an inside linebacker that might argue is a little too high to be taking that position, but Devin Lloyd is just that type of dude. Like Jacoby Dean out of Georgia, these two are definitely the top of the class at the linebacker position, and they're very similar in terms of play style. They're both super athletic. They can pass. They can cover the pass. They read the quarterback beautifully out of that middle linebacker spot, and they can both cover sideline to sideline whenever they need to. Then moving into the second half of this first round, you got the Los Angeles Chargers. Again, a team that we kind of expected to make the playoffs this year, but they just barely missed out because that last-second field goal against the Raiders. This is a team doesn't need a ton of help on the offensive side of the ball. Their offensive line might need some help in the interior, but it's not a desperate need. What I think they need is a run stopper in the middle of their defensive line, and there's a big body waiting for him in DeMarvin Leal. Again, absolute beast out of the interior of the defensive line for Texas A&M. 6'4", 290. He runs over guards and centers like he does it for a living, and he will be doing it for a living soon. But yeah, he can also be used as a 3-tech if you need a pass rusher from the interior as well. He's going to be a big asset for the Los Angeles Chargers defense moving forward. It's a thing in the AFC West that you definitely need with a division with Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr. Maybe if the Denver Broncos end up with an Aaron Rodgers, you're going to need somebody that can generate some pressure out of the interior, and the Chargers are going to get that with Leal here. Then at 18, this might be a controversial pick. The New Orleans Saints are up at 18. Obviously, you're looking receiver here if you're a lot of the fan base, but if Michael Thomas comes back, I'm going to argue that you don't need a ton of help there. You got Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith is a fine wide receiver too. Deontay Harris is fine there too as a slot guy. I don't think it's that pressing of a need. What is, or what could be a pressing need if Jameis Winston doesn't return? The quarterback spot.
Taysom Hill's not the dude for the future. Ian Book didn't look great in his only start last year. Obviously, he got thrown to the Wolves a little bit and could probably use a little bit more development. But I still think they, at the end of the day, are going to go quarterback here. Malik Willis is raw, super raw in terms of a passer, but the abilities are there. The low floor guy, but also a ridiculously high ceiling. His accuracy isn't great right now. He misses some throws that he should hit at the NFL level, but his arm strength is off the charts, and his running ability makes him an absolute threat whenever he touches the ball. Bit of a shame that they're not going to be able to run it out with Sean Payton, but if they get an offensive-minded head coach, he's going to be very happy to have Malik Willis in that locker room. Then at number 19, for the third time in this first round, you got the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, they went receiver with Drake London, with their 15th overall pick, and then the 16th they went Devin Lloyd to help the linebacker position. I think they go back to the defense here, but this time they go cornerback out of Washington. They're going to pick Trent McDuffie. This dude is great in man coverage or zone coverage, really versatile in that way. He's got great athleticism. His hip movement is fluid. He's got great coverage skills. His ball skills aren't top tier, but I mean, they get the job done, and he's a great tackler. He's aggressive in terms of run stopping as well, so that'll help off the corner as well. And then not only that, he could also help on the special teams. He did a little bit of punt returning in college, and that skill could definitely translate towards the NFL level as well. So yeah, Philadelphia gets Trent McDuffie at number 19. Then at number 20, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're looking for a quarterback going into the 2022 season. I don't think Mason Rudolph is the answer there. And what more fitting a pick to replace Ben Roethlisberger than Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh. This is another dude that's pretty much just coming home, and Kenny Pickett. And when I say he's a wide-bodied dude he's not super mobile, it's more like he's not going to scramble a lot. I mean, he's still mobile in the pocket. He can step up. He rolls out to his right, to his left. His throwing on the move isn't terrific, but I mean, it's serviceable. It'll get the job done. But when he's able to stay in the pocket and he's protected, that dude will rifle the ball 6 to 8 yards at pinpoint accuracy. He's got a great arm as well, arguably the top arm in this draft class. Malik Willis might give him a run for his money there, but he's definitely more accurate with the deep ball than Willis is. So yeah, I got Pittsburgh taking the quarterback of the future at number 20. Then 21, you got the New England Patriots. Obviously, a bit of a disappointing loss in the wild card round against the Buffalo Bills. They just weren't able to get it done against Josh Allen and that offense. So I think they shore up their secondary going into the 2022 season. I've got them taking cornerback Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson. Another guy that slowly has kind of just gone down the board in terms of his stock for this 2022 draft. But I still think the talent is there to be a starting cornerback in the NFL on day one. I mean, this dude, again, his skills in pass coverage are ridiculous. He's got great mobility. He moves laterally really well. His ball skills they're not the greatest, but I mean, they'll get it done for a cornerback. He's a great tackler too. And honestly, this is just a big need for the New England Patriots going into the season, and if they can get a guy that can be a starter for them, that's a win. You could argue receiver here, but I think cornerback's still a bit more of a pressing need. Then number 22, you got the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a team that needs a fast receiver. Obviously, Henry Ruggs and his situation, very unfortunate. And you need a guy that can replace that talent because they missed it during the course of that 2021 season. Here, I think you go with another speedster, Jameson Williams. Obviously, he's going to be coming off of that knee surgery. He's going to miss part of his rookie year because of that. But assuming he comes back to full health, he's going to be ready to go. And he could have been wide receiver 1 if he was still healthy. His speed is ridiculous. His route running is great. He's going to be an awesome deep threat for Derek Carr to throw to for years to come. And Las Vegas should feel really good about this pick. Then at number 23, you got the Arizona Cardinals. And I think more than anything else, they need a run stopper in the middle of their defensive line. And there's one staring them in the face right now, Jordan Davis out of Georgia. Again, another massive body to have on the interior of your defense, 6'5", 330 pounds. He doesn't do a ton in terms of pass rush, but that's what you got Chandler Jones for, and as of right now, J.J. Watt. But this dude will be able to stuff the run from day one, and that's what the Arizona Cardinals need. They're going to get that, and they could have a much more successful campaign in 2022 if he's able to provide that run-stopping ability. Then 24, the Dallas Cowboys. More than anything else, they need somebody on the interior of their offensive line right now. Their running lanes have been non-existent for Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard for the last couple of years, and they need to be able to improve that, especially if they want to compete for an NFC title at some point in the Dak Prescott era. They've signed that big extension with him, and they need to be able to put their money where their mouth is now. Yeah, with this pick, I got them taking Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M, super athletic guard for the Aggies for the last couple years. He's able to run block like nobody else. Honestly, he's probably the top guard prospect in this entire draft, so getting him at 24 is definitely a great deal for the Dallas Cowboys. Then at 25, the Buffalo Bills are going to be very happy to see this guy fall into their laps late in the first round. I'm talking about Chris Olave, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. He was one of the best wide receivers in the entire country over the past couple of years. Jameson Williams kind of took that title in 2021, but this dude, alongside with Garrett Wilson, was just dynamic at the wide receiver position. He's an efficient route runner. He's super fast. And Buffalo, they need another weapon to put alongside Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox. Obviously, he's a little inconsistent right now still. Cole Beasley, I don't think you can rely on him long term. So getting another wide receiver for Josh Allen to throw to is going to be great for them in 2022. Then at number 26, I've also got the Tennessee Titans taking a wide receiver here in the late first round. Honestly, they need some help because just don't know what the future holds for Julio Jones here. Ryan Tannehill needs another guy to be able to throw to, and I think they're going to take another receiver kind of built out of the same mold as A.J. Brown. He's a long receiver. He's got great length. He's also just really fast. He runs efficient routes. It's Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. This dude was one of the best receivers in the SEC this year, and I think that translates to the NFL really well. Tennessee needs another weapon, and they get it here. Then at 27, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're obviously don't know what's going on with them in the future. They've got a lot of question marks all across their roster with a ton of free agents. Obviously, Tom Brady retiring as well. So they could be in the quarterback market here. But I think at the end of the day, maybe you run it with Kyle Trask for a year, see what you got. Obviously, you spent a second-round pick on him, so you might as well see what you got with that guy. So I think they might try to protect him here and go with a left tackle, Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. He FCS guy, so the competition's not great, so it might cause him to fall a little bit farther in the draft. But I think Tampa Bay takes a shot at him at number 27 here. Then 28, another team with a ton of question marks heading into this offseason, and that honestly could change how this draft process goes moving forward. Might be a different pick when I do the next mock draft, but as of now, I'm going to give them a receiver. Devontae Adams, I'm going to guess he's probably gone, especially if he wants to be paid $30+ million a year. That's absolutely ridiculous, and Green Bay cannot afford that whatsoever, especially if they want to keep some of their defensive pieces on the team. But this is a wide receiver that's kind of gone overlooked in recent weeks because of an injury again, like Jameson Williams. It's George Pickens out of Georgia. He's honestly another just big guy, and he's a long target that can bring down catches that a lot of other receivers can't. He's got great hands. He runs efficient routes. He's not the fastest dude in the world, but honestly, at the end of the day, play speed is more important than 40 speed. So I think he's going to be a great receiver in the NFL, and Green Bay gets him here. Then 29. This is honestly one of my favorite prospects in the entire draft class. He's so much fun to watch, but it's Miami, the Miami Dolphins. They need to find a way to protect Tua in 2022. And you could not find a bigger guy than what they got here at 29. Daniel Faalele out of Minnesota. He's basically a dude that if you went into Madden, created a player, and turned all the sliders in terms of size all the way up. Stands at 6'8", 400 pounds at the left tackle position. Nobody is going to be moving him, and he's super raw right now in terms of a prospect, so he might fall a little bit further in the draft than this, but I think he's got the ability to play the left tackle position in the NFL, and honestly, 400 pounds, I mean, it's going to take a lot of effort to move that around. So I think the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa are going to be in good hands with him at the position. They go with Daniel Faalele here. Then at 30, wouldn't you know it, the Kansas City Chiefs, another track star falls into their hands here. Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. runs a 4.2 40. He's absolute blazing speed. He's not the greatest route runner in the world, but honestly, when you got Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce on that squad, you just need to run it, and Patrick Mahomes would just say, F it, you're down there somewhere, he's going to get you the ball. So another great weapon for Mahomes to throw to in 2022. They needed some more of that down the stretch of the 2021 season, and they get it here with Dotson. Then at 31, as of now, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're going to go with a little bit of a diamond in the rough dude that has definitely risen through the board. An FCS guy out of Central Michigan. It's Bernhard Raymond. Obviously, this is pretty simple. They just need some more protection for Joe Burrow. You can't have him getting sacked 9 times in a playoff game and expect them to win consistently. It's incredible what Burrow has done to get this team to the Super Bowl to this point, but they need to make things a little bit easier on him in 2022, and I think Raymond will be able to do that. And at 32, wrapping up this mock draft, you got the Detroit Lions, once again, picking at number 32 in place of the LA Rams. Again, just like the first pick, you could go in a lot of directions here, but at the end of the day, Jared Goff is not the long-term solution at quarterback. I think they dip into the QB pool here. For the 4th time in this first round, a QB will be taken. Might be a little surprising, but this one, I'm going to be going Desmond Ridder. He's a dual threat out of Cincinnati. He led the Bearcats to the CFP for the very first time. Basically, ever since he got there, he's turned that program around. Again, not the most accurate thrower, but his ability with his legs is unmatched in this draft class. If there was a B tier to Lamar Jackson, that's basically Desmond Ridder. I mean, he's not at that level in terms of scrambling as a runner yet, but he's got the potential to be a really great NFL quarterback, especially with his speed and elusivity in the run. And yeah, Detroit's going to need a quarterback moving forward, and they get one here at 32. But yeah, that's it for the very first mock draft of the 2022 season. The 1.0 is in the books. Leave your thoughts in the comments if you've got any picks that you thought would have gone differently, or you like the picks, you don't like the picks. Just leave them down below. Like the video, it helps me out. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because I got a ton of draft content coming for you in the coming months as we move closer to the late April. Pretty much going to be doing draft stuff on a weekly basis here on this channel, especially while the NBA regular season's going on. We don't have to talk about playoffs. That's basically where my focus is going to be. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that awesome stuff, and I will see you all next time.